Hi friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So for today's video, I'm actually super excited to be sharing this with you because for this build, I really felt like I was going back to my roots for a minute. I'm working on a Tudor style family home in the world of Windenburg, and first of all, I haven't been building in Windenburg for a very long time. I don't even remember when my last build was in Windenburg. It must have been maybe a Christmas cottage or something, but I don't even think that was last year's Christmas. I think that was the year before. I'm not even sure. Maybe I'm getting things wrong, but I feel like I haven't been building in this world in so long. So I don't know. I was just feeling very inspired to do a Tudor style home simply because I haven't done that in a very long time. And I just really wanted to embrace this entire aesthetic and build on a pretty lot in Windenburg. And this one is on the rustic residence lot in Windenburg. And it's actually one of my favorite lots in this world, because it's just so good. The lighting on this one is so good. And I found a really cute picture of a home on Pinterest that I used for a Kickstarter just for a little bit of inspiration to get me started on this build. What I liked about it was that the house was it felt so simple in its shape, but therefore just super cozy and super doable in The Sims, and really something I could put my own spin on and really you know, get comfy with and watch some Gilmore Girls on the side, which I've actually finished my yearly watch through of Gilmore Girls already. I finished the whole thing. I started on September 1st, I think is exactly the day I started this year. And I watched it all. I'm done. And then I always tell myself that I'm not gonna sit and watch A Year in the Life because I don't know, A Year in the Life, I don't really like it. I will say that. It's not the revival I had hoped for. You know, there's just some things that I don't like about A Year in the Life, but then I watch it every year anyway because I just cannot say goodbye to the series as a whole. So then I sit down and after season 7, I'll watch A Year in the Life and then I'm done. So I'm even done with A Year in the Life now. I'm completely done. I have no more Gilmore Girls to watch. I'm completely getting sidetracked. I'm so sorry. I can never stop talking about this show whenever it's fall season. But yeah, I will stop talking about it now because I finished the show this year. So, you know, I won't be watching it again until next year. Anyway, that's not what I was wanting to talk about. What I was saying is this was the perfect type of build for me to get comfy, get cozy, watch a comfort show on the side, and just sit down and build in The Sims. And it was just, for that reason, it was almost therapeutic. I can't lie. It was definitely going back to my roots, doing what, you know, what the main reason was for me to start a YouTube channel is to share speed builds and share my builds and things in The Sims 4, which lately I've been kind of, you know, I guess expanding my horizons. I've been diversifying my content, which was always the plan. I went full-time as a content creator, and you know, the whole thing with not putting your eggs in one basket and all that, it was always my plan to diversify, which I haven't been able to do until I went full-time because I simply didn't have time. So, you know, it's kind of like a gamble in that sense, but it's really fun to just experiment with different types of Sims videos, but also different types of, you know, games in general, and share those on my channel as well. So that's just a whole thing. But for that reason, it was even more so just cozy and calming and therapeutic for me to sit down and do a good old family speed build, a cozy family home, and turn it into a speed build. So I'm not sure if this is at all interesting, but that's how I was feeling when I was building this house, and it was just really nice. And I also just really like how this house came together. It was not a problematic one at all. There was no weird issues that I was having struggles with when it comes to the floor plan, the roofing, the fencing, the landscaping, nothing. Everything just came together very seamlessly, and it was just a sign that I was ready for something like this, a build like this one. And I think this one's absolutely just super cozy, and I actually really kind of want to do some gameplay in this. Maybe I should start some gameplay off camera just for myself to enjoy this game in that sense as well. I always enjoy this game, but the only time I'll play it is when I'm doing something content related. So maybe I should like start a family for like start a household, a let's play kind of thing for myself, you know, and just use this house for it. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I won't, but you know, that's just kind of like the cozy, comfy feeling I get when I personally look at this house. I just had a lot of fun with it. So this house is not super big. It's not super small either, but it would work perfectly fine if you have a household of, say, 4 Sims total, being like 2 parents, 2 kids, or something of the likes, 1 parent, 3 kids maybe, because one of the bedrooms could be used as a shared kids room. It'll be a little cramped, but it's definitely an option. The way I furnished it is for a couple or a single sim, but I definitely had a couple in mind. A baby, or in my case, what I was thinking of was a pregnant sim with a baby on the way, or maybe they're in the process of adopting or having a science baby or whatever it is, but they do have a baby on the way, so they have a nursery in this house. And then the potential 3rd bedroom, I actually furnished as an office space, but you can obviously, if you need a 3rd bedroom, you can easily go ahead and turn the office space into a 3rd bedroom. That would work perfectly fine. It'll be a small room, but it will definitely be doable. So yeah, that's the thing you could definitely think about if you wanted to do that. And then there's 2 full bathrooms, one being a downstairs hall bath and the other one an upstairs hall bath. So 2 hall baths, 4 Sims, or maybe 5 Sims total, whatever you feel like doing. But I feel like this house is very versatile when it comes to household types. I also think it'd be really cute for this house to have some elderly Sims living in it. I think that would work really nicely. Just some elderly gameplay, because justice for elderly Sims, honestly. I am also guilty of that. I barely ever play with elderly Sims, but I feel like a house like this would just be perfect for an elderly couple that maybe live with their grandkid or something like that, or maybe just the 2 of them. You could even add a pet to this house. I didn't even include anything for pets in this house, which would have been perfect, but I don't know. I guess this was not a pet kind of build for me for whatever reason, but you know, a dog or a cat would be perfect for this one too. I definitely wanted to add some gardening to this though. So here on the side, this lot is very wide, and I built the house kind of more backwards towards, you know, the back of the lot. So I didn't build it backwards. That didn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. I built it towards the back of the lot. And so I didn't really have any space for a backyard, but I did have space for 2 side yards. So on one side of the build, I decided to just go for a garden. So we have a bunch of gardening pots and, you know, planters and things. We have a beekeeper thingy, and then also a woodworking bench. I thought that was nice. So we can do like all the outdoorsy gardening, beekeeping, woodworking type of activities out there. And then on the other side of the house is where we just have a nice side yard here that I just decorated as a backyard. So we have a outdoor dining table, and then later on I also placed a seating area and a swing set. I thought a swing set would be nice. I wasn't imagining these people having a literal child. They do have a baby on the way, but they don't have a kid in the household right now. But I did think that this house is definitely older, and it basically just comes with a swing set in the yard. That swing set's probably very old and it's always been there, you know, like that kind of a thing. I remember in my childhood home, we had a swing set in the backyard that we used as kids, but then obviously me and my sister, we grew up and then we didn't use it anymore, but the swing set was always still there. So that's kind of what I was imagining. This house probably went through a large amount of different families and different generations and things like that. So, you know, there's an older swing set in the yard. And specifically for this house, I really wanted to make it super cozy. So I definitely, for the interior, wanted it to have a very cottagey look and feel, with maybe a couple of renovations done here and there, but for the most part, it's definitely a cozy cottage, closed off floor plan look and feel. So when you walk into the house, you basically walk straight into this living room that's pretty small, and we do have a really nice fireplace. Lately, I've been obsessed with using that ridiculous square 90s TV. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure if for a lot of people that's also cozy and fun and cutesy, or if people just find it ridiculous, but you can obviously swap it out. But I thought this house was perfect for, you know, not necessarily a TV over top the fireplace mantle, because first of all, they're so high up on the wall that for some reason, it has come to my attention that you would really have to look up to the TV, and it's annoying to me. So I don't really want to place them like that anymore. I'll probably get over it at some point and start placing them on fireplace mantles, but for now I'm in an era where it annoys me and I feel like Sims have to look up way too much and it's just not comfortable. So I don't know, I get too nitpicky about these things sometimes. So yeah, that's why I placed the TV on a side table, and it's a really annoying little 90s square box TV, but I love them. And I can't lie, I would kind of love to have one in my house. Is that weird? Like in real life, I think it would be so fun to, okay, let me just dream for a second, okay? If I lived in a house with space, period, I would want to have a larger office, obviously, and I would love to have a chill slash, well, maybe not even a gaming nook, more so just like a nook where I can set up a really comfortable like day bed or really nice corner chair that's really big kind of thing where I can just hang out and play Switch games and read and stuff like that. Maybe do some coloring or Legos or whatever. And then I would love to have like a really cute 90s kind of TV setup, maybe even with a DVD player, and I could have like my Gilmore Girls DVD boxes, you know, just I don't know. I just feel like that would be such a vibe. Maybe I'm just really ridiculous right now, but that's kind of a vision that I have that I would love to have in my house. So that's why I'm using the 90s box TV for this house, I guess, long story short. But you can really see this house come together, or at least the living room. I was also having fun with some of those new base game items that were recently added actually last week into the game. I used that really cute little wicker basket. I think that's such a pretty item. I also used the plant in here and the lamp a couple times. I didn't use the rug. It didn't come to mind, but the rug would have been really cute in this house as well. I just didn't think of it. It's too new. It's not in my, you know, brain when I think of Sims or rugs to use in my Sims houses. Anyway, I'll use it at some point. But yeah, this house is very closed off, cozy. I was definitely trying to kind of embrace that 90s look and feel just in general. Also here in the kitchen. I love that base game wallpaper that I used, and I have unlocked a really fun combination that I will be using a lot probably, and that is this floor tile from the Grange Mudroom kit, combined with this wallpaper, the tile wallpaper with the blue and yellow from the base game. The blues and the tile for the floor and the wallpaper aren't exactly the same, but they do go together just well enough, in my opinion, so that it kind of looks like a match. And it feels very 90s to me, and I was just really enjoying that, especially combined with these counters from the base game in the dark, like warmer wood tone. I thought that was really nice. And overall, I just had a blast with making this house sort of like a nostalgic look and feel, like a 90s look and feel. That's kind of what I was leaning into for this one anyway. So you'll have to let me know in the comments down below if this house is giving you 90s as well. It's just now that I'm looking at the footage and like doing the voiceover, I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely was going for that 90s aesthetic. And as I was decorating this, it didn't even really hit me. I was just vibing with whatever I felt inspired to, you know, do for this house when it comes to decorating. But I can totally see the 90s headspace that I was in when I was decorating this, and I think it looks really fun. So yeah, that's, I guess, what I just leaned into and what it turned out to be like. But for this family living in this house specifically, I was thinking of a younger couple with a child on the way. Not younger in the sense that like they're in their 20s and having their first kid, but I feel like they would be like, when you think of them as Sims, I would say young adults going adults, like pretty soon-ish. And they do have their first baby on the way. And what I think happened is, I think they used to really embrace the hustle culture, and they used to both work really hard. They used to be really career motivated and just very career focused. And, you know, they worked really hard. They probably lived in the city somewhere. Maybe they used to live in like a really nice big apartment, and they worked hard for it so they could afford like a nice apartment. And then at one point in their lives, they realized, hey, I kind of am done with this like hustle culture kind of thing. I don't just really want to live for my work just to make money. I would love to actually move to the countryside of Windenburg and live in a cute cottage and like do landscaping. Sure, I still want to work, but also I just really want to embrace the outdoors and maybe, you know, take up some different hobbies, maybe do some gardening, maybe start beekeeping or whatever, you know? So they basically just wanted to escape the hustle culture. Also for their kid, because they had always had this dream of having a baby one day, but they just never got around to it because they were so busy with their careers. And so they were like, hey, if we're gonna start a family, for one, timeline wise, we're probably gonna have to do it now. And also, do we want this city hustle, work hard culture for our baby? Or do we want them to grow up in a different way and maybe be more outdoorsy and just embrace nature and take everything a little bit more slowly and just calmly, you know, that sort of thing? And that's what they decided on, and that's why they sold their nice apartment in the city, and they were able to afford this house in Windenburg that probably needed some TLC. It's definitely kind of older, and maybe they're still planning some renovations because the bathrooms, for example, are kind of dated. The kitchen's very cozy, but, you know, also kind of dated. So maybe at some point down the line, they would want to do some renovations. But for now, they're just they moved into this house and they're embracing the vibe of this house, the 90s vibe of this house. And I don't know, maybe they're actually kind of enjoying it. Maybe they did have big plans of renovating it at first and modernizing it more. And after living here for a while, maybe they are, you know, realizing that this is just what the house is and this is what fits the aesthetic of the house and works for them. And in this space, also just like in Windenburg in general, it just really fits in, and they're kind of learning to embrace that style. And not everything has to be nice and new and modern all the time. Stuff can be old and still be functional and be cute in the nostalgic sense, you know what I mean? So maybe that's something they are learning at this point as well. It's kind of fun. I was kind of talking about this with my boyfriend yesterday because we were in a garden center store type thing that is all set up for Christmas. And we were just kind of soaking in all the Christmassy decorations, just kind of slowly but surely getting into the Christmas spirit of it all. And we saw these really pretty decorations, these very nostalgic kinds of decorations. And I told him, I was like, okay, one day when we actually have a house with enough space so we can like decorate other than just putting a Christmas tree, and also like decorate other spaces, I would love to go all out with nostalgic 90s decorations. I think that would just be so cozy and so much fun to do. And I guess that's kind of what I was embracing here for this house as well. So it's something I've been kind of wanting to embrace in real life, I guess, but in this tiny little apartment, we just don't really have the space for anything like that. But yeah, here you can see we have moved on to the upstairs, which is where we have 3 bedrooms, or actually I decorated it as 2 bedrooms, 1 office, but potentially 3 bedrooms. And I'm starting with the parents' room. This one's fairly simple actually. So yeah, I just went with this blue wallpaper, and I guess I combined it with some browns, and then that's the color scheme for this room. We do have some mismatched woods in here, which I think works really nicely. But for the rest, that space is very, very simply decorated. And then next to the main bedroom, we have this office space with a really beautiful bay window with stained glass. I think that one's just so gorgeous. And I really just wanted to make a desk moment out of it. So I decided to size down a couple of these filing cabinets from Life and Death. And I paired them with a desk also from Life and Death to kind of blend it all in seamlessly. And I think that looks so fun. It looks like a whole like built-in unit type thing together with that bay window. I don't know. I thought that looked very chic and fun. So that's why I wanted to turn this into an office, because I just thought that that would be so beautiful with that bay window over there. It would be such a nice, like serene workspace, I feel. And I'm not exactly sure what these people would do for their job, but I do think that at least one of them still works from home, and that's why they wanted to have this like nice office space. Maybe they have their own business, or maybe they're like a lawyer or something like that. They can still have their own business when they're a lawyer, but maybe they like work from home when they just need a nice workspace, you know, so that's why I decorated this one. And I did want to make it cozy in here, so I also decided to put down a really small fireplace. I think this fireplace actually came with the Adventure Awaits expansion, but I could be confusing it with other packs because we do have a bunch of these like smaller fireplaces now, and I think they're so cute. They really work for smaller rooms as well, and that way the fireplace doesn't immediately take up a chunk of space in the room. So it's just really nice to be able to place one of those. And then the other room that kind of feels like an attic room in a way. It's kind of nestled in between a couple of roof pieces. So I feel like that's a really cute little attic room type thing. And I turned this one into the nursery, which they're currently still kind of setting up is what I was thinking. So they're in the process of decorating this nursery. So it might feel a little empty still, but that's, you know, kind of part of the storytelling here is that they have a baby on the way, but the baby isn't here yet. So they're just kind of trying to make everything perfect for when the baby actually arrives. And I do feel like this nursery has a lot of potential. I went for a pink and yellow kind of color scheme here for the most part. I obviously had to put in a little rocking chair in here as well. I thought that was going to be so cute, and I did place a couple of toys. I went with a rug. I really like this rug in here, by the way, with that really nice pattern. That rug is from the Refined Living Room kit, and I use it all the time. It's actually one of my favorite rugs in the game these days. It is so pretty, and the color combinations are like, and the swatches are so soft and like versatile and easy to use. So yeah, I really wanted to place that one in here as well. With a nice rocking chair, I placed some books on the wall and a couple of toys for them to play with when the baby actually gets here and when the baby gets a little older as well. And then here we have an upstairs half bath as well that really looks like the downstairs bath, but this one's layout is a little bit different. But I do really like the blue theme overall in here with the blue counters and floors and wallpaper, and then combined with the darker brown like wood tone. I just think that that is very cozy and just like a really nice color scheme. But yeah, this bathroom's fairly simple, but it does look nice and lived in. And then of course we have the side yard here that I hadn't really decorated yet. I did place a outdoor dining table, but then that's literally it. So I wanted there to be like a nice area for them to lounge outside as well. So I went for a living area and just some, you know, just some decorations overall. And then maybe when the kid gets older, they can get some like new playground equipment and like some toys outside, maybe even a sand pit or something of the likes. I think that would be really fun. But yeah, that's basically going to be it. I'm just placing some lights by the fence and then that's it. So let's jump into the game and I'll show you this house in real time. So here we have the house in the game. And of course I had to make it fall because look at the fall vibes in Windenburg. This is just, you can't beat it. It's so gorgeous. This lot is so good. The lighting on this lot is so good. So yeah, here we have the house. It is not super gigantic, but also not very tiny. It's a very simple shape, but I don't know, that's why I feel like it's working for me. So over on the side here is where we have a nice garden. So I placed a bunch of planters, also some smaller ones. You can do some beekeeping over here and some woodworking, of course. And then on the other side over here is where we have the rest of the yard with the swing set, a dining table, a seating area, and I also placed an outdoor bin here by the back door, which is off of the kitchen. And then of course we have the front door. So when we walk into the house, you can kind of see the floor plan from here. It is nice and closed off, which is exactly what I had in mind for this Tudor style cottage type thing. It's very simple and self-explanatory, but I feel like that's why it flows really well. So when you first walk in, we just have this living room right here. Of course, we have a little entry with an old mirror, a coat closet, and just a couple of knickknacks. And then over here is the living room. I really like this pink, like dusty pink red tone combined with the yellow and beige and like browns and everything. I think it really warms up the space. So I placed a fireplace in here and then that boxy 90s TV in the corner here. I just feel like these people don't really watch a lot of TV maybe. They do, however, do a lot of games and like puzzles and things. There's a nice bookcase in here and just some poofs and everything. And then through this archway over here is the kitchen, which I feel like is 90s galore. I just really like this. I use this kitchen clutter island kind of in the middle because it doesn't take up as much space as a real island does. So I felt like that was good for this smaller kitchen. Also this fridge with all the thingies, like the papers and the recipes and all that, like on the door, I think is just so cozy. We have that green stove. I just loved that as a little accent in here. A coffee corner, a microwave, and just a bunch of clutter. And then in the back here is just some storage, a little china cabinet, and then a bookcase to fill up the space. And through this archway is the dining room. The dining room is actually really big. We have a nice 8-seater dining table here, so I feel like these people are probably already excited to invite over their family for Christmas, maybe Thanksgiving, because they do have this larger house now as opposed to the apartment they used to live in, you know? So now they can invite over their family and host nice dinners. In the back here is a hallway with, you know, just your hallway things. We just have a dresser and a little shelf, and then of course, the full bathroom, which is nice and spacious. I debated turning this into a bath and laundry room, but then I was like, maybe I won't do laundry because it's just annoying to play with. So I decided against laundry, but if you wanted to, I feel like you could easily fit it in here if you changed up the layout a little bit. Going upstairs, we have a really small landing that's open to the hallway below. And then this first door leads you into the main bedroom, which is nice and simple, honestly. There's not a whole lot to this room, but I like it in its simplicity. So it's like nice and blue and brown. There are a couple of dressers over here in this little nook, and I also put a bookcase. On this side here is the office. I just really like this desk moment with the stained glass bay window, and then there's also a fireplace in here with a couple of bookcases and a nice reading nook over here. Tucked away in the corner is the door into the hall bath. This one's a little smaller than the one downstairs, but it is a full bath still, so it has everything your Sims need. And then over here is the nursery. I just think this nursery is very cozy. The shape of this room is so nice. I love how it kind of feels like an attic room from the outside anyway, not necessarily from the inside. And we of course have a changing table, a little rocking chair, some storage that they're probably still going through for the baby, and some books here on the wall. But that is basically it for this build. So this cozy Tudor family home is up on the gallery. Unfortunately, my gallery library does seem to be glitched still, so you can only find my builds when you search for them by the title. So yeah, if you search for cozy Tudor family home, my build should pop up somewhere. It is a residential. It comes in at just under 94,000 simoleons, and I built it on a 30 by 20 on the rustic residence lot in Windenburg. So if you want to place it in your game, then that's where it goes. But that's gonna do it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed this one. If you did, please don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and turn on post notifications if you want to be notified every time I upload. You can find me over on Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok if you'd like. My username over there is Simmary Sims. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!